Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We are all walking around in an illusory world. We're walking around in a dream, and each of us is acting out our roles in this dream. And with the advent of technology and newspapers and the excessive amount of reporting on world events and on points of view in this world, we are inundated with a constant barrage of information about what is going on around us in this dream. There's no end to it. There's no end to the TV stations. There's no end to the newspapers. There's no end to the magazines. There's no end to the social media. There's no end to the conflicts. There's no end to the fighting. There's no end to the anger. There's no end to the animosities. There's no reconciliation. There is a constant, ongoing battle that makes everything seem as if it's the utmost importance, and yet yesterday's paper is thrown away and we start again today, and it goes on and on and on. And how does it all begin? Where does it all begin? What's the starting point for all of this? The wise men tell us that it begins with desire. At the start of all of this illusory fantasy is desire. Desire turns into lust, and lust and desire enter the mind, which is darkness. And in that darkness, we develop mental pictures of things, sparks of imaginations, and they become the world. And then we act within the world. So we began with a desire, and we ended up play acting out these desires as if they were our lives. And in fact, unless we awake from illusion for the period that we're here, they are our lives. They may not be real, these lives, but they are what we think is our lives. And somehow we need to go backwards through this scenario that created this illusory world for us and find our way back to that place prior to desire, to that place prior to lust, to that place prior to illusion, to that place of reality. And that comes through faith. That comes through a powerful belief system. Without faith, we become overwhelmed by the illusion of this mind life, this dream life. With faith, we are put back into our own reality, which is our connection to our Creator. But unless our faith is strong enough to overcome the mind drama of our acting in this existence, we will continue to take this existence as if it was our true life. The only thing that will pull us out of it is a strong enough belief system that reality is on the other side of this, that reality is different than this. And to find that faith, we have to be very strong in our conviction that we believe in God and that God is the one who controls all things, as opposed to man controlling all things. Bawa used to tell us that one of the reasons that he came to America was to keep communism from entering into America. He indicated that communism was a godless belief system and only led to destruction, because people who didn't have faith in God could not rule in an appropriate way, in a benign way. So one of the reasons he came here was to keep communism out of here. Well, we need to keep faithless ideas out of our system. We need to have a strong belief in the Creator and a strong belief that the Creator will resolve situations. Now, in normative thinking for the make-believe illusory world, could the illusory world believe that a 5'1" or 5'2" little man who weighs 90 pounds sitting on a bed in Philadelphia could keep communism out of America? Or do our armies and our generals and our political system protect us? What protects us? What protects our country and what protects us individually? Can we shift our understanding so that we understand that our protection comes from God, and our faith is strong enough that we believe our protection comes from God, and we give up our reliance on the world? In order to get to that place, we also have to give up certain other things. We have to give up all of the things that do away with the understanding of the unity of existence. We have to do away with anger, miserliness, greed, jealousy, hastiness, religious differences, racial differences, language differences, nationality differences, color differences. We have to do away within ourselves of all of these differences, because all of these differences are part of this illusory world. And if we give credence to any of them, we are being held in illusion. Ali, the nephew of the Prophet, said, there are 6 things in this world for man: what we eat, what we drink, what we smell, what we wear, what we ride, and what we marry. Now, he said, the highest thing among that which we can eat is honey. And honey is the vomit of bees. He says, the highest thing that we can drink is water. And water is common to all creation. Every animal, every insect drinks water. What we smell, the highest of smells, is musk. And where does musk come from? Musk comes from the mucus of the gazelle. The highest thing we can wear is silk. And where does silk come from? Silk is the excrement of an insect. And then we marry. And where is the place? Oh no, what we ride. And the highest thing we can ride is a horse. And horses take us into battle, and that's where men are killed. And then when we marry, the place where we meet, the highest place of pleasure among men and women, is where they urinate. Think about it. This is the status of our existence, and this is the status of life. So how can we take it all that seriously? How can we give so much credence to all of it? We have to understand that it's all put together by the Creator in a way that works and in a way that gives us life and gives us sustenance and supplies us with that which we need. But it all has come from the Creator, and it's all come in unique ways that we would never imagine on our own. Yet that's the way it is in this world. And we need to be able to surrender our own hallucinations to the will of God. We live our life, and the entire world lives its life in a shared hallucination, in a shared idea of how things work. And if you look at the media, this shared idea has very little to do with our Creator. It has to do with the interrelationship between governments, the interrelationship between armies, and the interrelationship between ways of governance. And it appears that these have reality to them and that they're in a constant conflict. And we believe the winners of that conflict are going to rule the world. And it's very important as to who wins that conflict. You know, in the animal kingdom, everything eats everything else. And the smaller are constantly being eaten by the larger. In the world of fish, you can see it. The bigger fish eat the smaller fish. We need to escape from the world of eating and being eaten. We need to escape from our connections to all of it and our attachments to all of it. And only when we escape from these attachments are we going to be able to find our way to the truth. And it's not going to happen without doing that. And so how do we find our way to the truth? How do we find our way to releasing ourselves from these attachments? Well, there are lots and lots of answers to that question. But one of them is that our priorities have to change, and our inclinations have to change, and our intentions have to change. So from an intention of ruling the world, we have to come to an intention of looking for reality within ourselves. So there has to be an alteration. We have to stop looking outside of ourselves for reality and start looking inside of ourselves for reality. We have to be able to go into silence and be able to not react to all of the external stimuli that are constantly coming at us from every which way and every which direction. In the midst of all of it, we have to become still. We have to become without a reaction. Since we were children, we have been trained to react in certain ways. We have to give up all of that training. We have to take into account the fact that the only reality is our Lord, and He is our only protector. And we can't look to protection in other places. Now, Allah alone is our protector. There are intermediaries that take us towards Him, but they're only intermediaries, and we always have to understand that the way to Him may be through others, and it is, in fact, through others very often, but they are intermediaries for that end result. And that end result has to do with faith, and a very, very powerful belief that Allah controls everything, and Allah is the one who maintains and sustains everything, and our own abilities are tied directly to Him. They don't come from us. If we're highly intelligent and can figure out dilemmas in this illusory world, it's because He has allowed us to do that. If we've been given wealth in this world, it's because He has allowed us to have it. If we've been given insight in this world, it's because He allowed us to have it. If we've been given faith in this world, it's because He allowed us to have it. How do you teach faith? How do you tell people to have faith in God? How do you explain it to them? How do you make it a deep inner intention in people to have faith in God? It's not something that can be taught. It's like people who can jump very high. They have some kind of innate ability. They're not taught how to jump very high. Well, faith comes from Allah allowing faith to enter into us. And we have to understand that if we have faith, this is a great gift that has been given to us by our Creator, because faith is what's going to bring you serenity. Faith is what's going to bring you contentment. Faith is what's going to bring you peace. Faith will put things in order for you when everything seems to be chaotic. Faith organizes your life for you. Faith puts everything in perspective. Faith doesn't allow you to become manic or depressed. Faith keeps you centered. Faith is a powerful, powerful quality that each of us has to develop within ourselves, and we have to ask Allah to bring us this faith and to make this faith strong in us. The world is going to constantly try and attack us. The world is going to constantly go after us. The anteater puts its tongue into the home or the shelter where the ants live. And the ants, thinking it's food, all bite the tongue. And the anteater withstands the pain of all of these ant bites until his tongue is full of ants, and then he swallows them. We have to be able to withstand the pain that's given to us in this world and turn to Allah, turn to God. Pain is part of this experience. Men take on the persona of animals. Even though they look like men, in truth, many men are animalistic in their nature and in their qualities. And that's why so many of the stories that are told to make points about wisdom are made through using animal characters, foxes and crocodiles. There was a fox who stole a chicken every day and came to the shore of the river to eat the chicken. And there was a crocodile in the water who watched him eat the chicken. And every day he'd see him eat another chicken. And every day the crocodile grew jealous of the fox. And he thought, if I can only get this fox, I can eat the essence of all those chickens, which must be stored in his liver. So he approached the fox and told him how beautiful he was and how smart he was and how ingenious he was to be able to get a chicken every day. And he would like to introduce somebody of this brilliance to the rest of his family. Would he do him the honor of visiting with his wife and with his children? And the fox said, how are we going to do this? And the crocodile said, just jump on my back and I'll take you to them. He jumped on the crocodile's back and they began to talk. And the crocodile said to him while they were streaming towards his family, you must have the essence of all of those chickens in your liver. And the fox immediately understood that the crocodile wanted to eat him. He jumped off the crocodile's back, but then he realized he wouldn't make it by himself swimming. So he said, oh, I take it you want to eat my liver. Well, I'd be happy to give you my liver. I store it in my cave. If you'll only take me back to the shore, I'll go get it, and then you can have my liver. I have no real need for it. And the crocodile took him back to the shore and he got off. The fox escaped. We are constantly in the midst of needing to escape from all of the things in this world that want to have a piece of us, that demand some recognition from us, that want us to become involved with them. And I can name lots of different entities that want you to become involved with them. Religions want you to become involved with them. Races want you to become involved with them. Political parties want you to become involved with them. Everybody selling anything in this world wants you to become involved with them. It's through this interaction that everything in this world happens. So every one of these different entities is trying to create a desire within you that you will create a lust for, and that then you will begin to go after. So a religion will tell you the only path to your salvation is to follow us. A political party will tell you the only path to your freedom and your well-being is through us. Races will tell you that it is only in our race culture that we will be able to find freedom, and all other races are trying to usurp our right to be free, and they are our natural enemies. Everybody is trying to get your attention to create desire and lust within you. And once that desire and lust is created, the mind does the rest. The mind creates the entire tableau, scenario of how you then go about interacting with this desire-lust combination, what it is that you do in order to culminate some kind of appropriate resolution to your desire, lust, cravings. So we become the victim of our own cravings. We become the victim of our own ideas and our own assumptions. We become victim of religions, races, politicians, all of the things that have severe points of view within the world. We become victimized by them. So how do we release ourselves? How do we break free from all of these things? And the only way is with a strong bedrock foundation in our Creator and a belief system that overrides all of these desires and lusts and lies that are told to us in a onslaught that never stops. We need to understand that God is beyond religion, that God has sent into this world 124,000 prophets and lots of others who have been sent here to spread the truth. And what's happened is this truth has been taken and made into an entity, made into an institution. And then the institution becomes more important than the relationship between man and God. So we need to bypass the institution and go directly to the Creator. Governments are supposed to be here for the sake of our humanity, for the sake of taking care of us, but they are in constant conflict, and they ask you to be in conflict with them. If any of you know anything about the workings of politics during times of elections, you will know that each party sends daily hundreds of requests to everybody that they can get hold of to send them money, because that's what they need to keep their flow going. The entire world is a business. Religion is a business, race is a business, politics is a business, and businesses are businesses. And everybody is trying to get you to walk in to their store and to buy. We need to bypass all of the stores of the world and go directly to the Creator of everything. And this is done, again, with a strong faith-based system in God. And this is the way we can save ourselves. We need to be able to spend time being quiet. How many people can't handle being alone by themselves without noise? They're either watching television, listening to the radio, looking to their phone, or have earbuds in, or are listening to the radio in the car. There's always some kind of external stimuli going on. Why? Because we haven't become comfortable with the silence inside ourselves. We haven't become comfortable, or we haven't even begun to look at who and what we are. And as long as we spend all of our time and all of our effort on trying to put all of the external portions of our life in order, we will never put the internal portions of our life in order, and we're never going to find out who it is that we are and who it is that we should be. Hallaj was a great saint, and he still was suffering with arrogance, even though he had ascended to a high level. He was walking through a street, and a little boy comes up to him and says, "Sir." And Hallaj looks around, and finally he sees the little boy and says, "What do you want?" He says, "What do you do when you have food, and what do you do when you don't have food?" And Hallaj says, "When you have food, you eat, and when you don't have food, you are patient." And then the little boy says, "What do you do when you have wealth, and what do you do when you don't have wealth?" And Hallaj says, "When you have wealth, you use it, and when you don't have wealth, you are patient." And the boy says, "These are interesting answers, but I have different answers." And Hallaj says, "What are your answers?" And Hallaj and the little boy says, "When you have food, you share it until all the people near you have been fed. And if there's anything left over, then you eat. And if you have wealth, you give it to the orphans and to the widows and to the unmarried young ladies so they can get married, and to the ones in need. And if there's anything over, then you use it." And Hallaj saw that this little boy had a better understanding of reality that he did, and his arrogance drifted from him, and he became more and more real. We need to become more and more real. To what extent can we become real? God is in a constant mode of giving. What is our mode? How much can we give? How much can we feel and empathize with those around us and the hunger of those around us? How much do we do for the sake of humanity? We have to ask those questions of ourselves, and we have to answer those questions for ourselves. But we have to ask those questions with an understanding that Allah is listening to those answers, and Allah is involved in that discussion with us. So each of us should do the best that we can to become like our Lord. Each of us should do the best that we can to assist others. And don't forget, the Prophet said, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, a smile is charity. So if you can give nothing else than a smile, give a smile, but at least give a smile. An old man was walking from church with his granddaughter, and there was a beggar outside, and the old man gave the beggar $20. And he looked like a drunk, and his granddaughter said to him, grandfather, why did you give him $20? He's just going to spend it on alcohol. And he said, if I am asked to help and I don't give, that's on me. If he takes the money and spends it on alcohol, that's on him. We can't make assumptions about other people's lives and what other people are going to do. We're in this world to help, and we can't decide who to help and who not to help. You know, I was with a group of people one day, and one person began being incredibly critical about people, saying this one is so-and-so, and this one is such and such, and this one does so-and-so. And then somebody with a little more wisdom in the group said to him, and next, are you going to decide who goes to heaven and who goes to hell? And it's like that. We are not the ultimate judges. We are God's vice regents who help his work in this world. So let's make sure that as we travel through this life, as we go through this existence, we are actually doing his work, not the work of the arch rival. We need to be doing God's work for the sake of humanity and for the sake of ourselves, for the sake of others' souls and for the sake of our own soul. Everything that we do will reflect on us. Everything that we give will reflect on us. Every kindness that we put out there will reflect on us and will be looked at when we are finally looked at. So let us be in a state of kindness. Let us be in a state of joy. Let us be in a state of faith. Let us be in a state of belief, strong belief in God. And as we believe in God, he will believe in us, and we will find our salvation. May it be so for each of us. Ameen. Ameen. Ya Rabbil Alameen. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.